Hello and welcome to Kayak, where everything's controlled by evil cats. My name's Beast. I'm a servant of the evil feline horde and your host. Today on Catterday Cartoons, we once again look at the 1987 series of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Season 1, Episode 2, Enter the Shredder, originally aired on December 15th, 1987, whereas the first episode of the series was more for introduction and backstory. This is where the series took its giant leap forward and started off. The story starts off with the turtles fast asleep. This is the first time we get to see them without their colored face masks. April comes in and wakes them up. Apparently, this is the morning right after the events of the flooded skyscraper. We see the turtles then start their day off with weapons practice, and then they go to have a healthy breakfast, which consists of different cereals on top of pizza. April reminds the turtles about the Technodrome, something that was mentioned in the announcement right before the building flooded the night before. The turtles decide to go do some sewer exploration and find the location where the building from the night before should have been, but instead of finding anything, they find a large empty cavern. They vow to continue looking, but first they need to return to Splinter and give him all the new information they've gathered. Meanwhile, we see the Technodrome blast away rock as it rolls through caverns under New York City. The Technodrome has a very interesting design. It's basically a large sphere on top of a bunch of tank treads with a giant eye sitting on top. The man controlling the Technodrome is Shredder, formerly known as Oroku Saki. He isn't very happy that his advanced robot ninjas were easily defeated by the Ninja Turtles. We then get introduced to the second main protagonist of the series when he summons Shredder to have a face-to-face conversation with him. This new character is Krang. He is apparently a large pink brain-like creature with long tendril/tentacle arms. Krang is apparently a ruthless warlord from Dimension X, who after being separated from his body was banished to Earth. He tells Shredder that he has a massive army waiting for him back at Dimension X, and would grant Shredder the use of said army, and all he needs to do is get Krang a robotic body. Shredder says that they aren't safe until he can defeat Splinter and the Turtles, but Krang counters that if he had a new body, he would definitely defeat anyone, and Shredder adds that he'd even be able to defeat him. Krang attempts to bribe Shredder by reminding about the mutagen he originally used to try and do away with Splinter, and Shredder decides that'd be a great use of the mutagen if he used it to turn some of his own men into mutants. Back with the Turtles, they have just finished telling Master Splinter about the disappearing Technodrome. Splinter says his one student, now Shredder, is extremely cunning and dangerous, and he decides to join the Turtles in search for the Technodrome. April decides to take this time and head back to the news office to see if she can gather any more information or get a possible lead. Meanwhile, above ground at the local zoo, robots tunnel up and kidnap a rhino with what appears to be sharp fang-like teeth and a warthog. The turtles continue to explore, but the sewers get too cluttered with junk. While Splinter continues below ground, the turtles go above ground. Back with Shredder in the Technodrome, we see him select two thugs that appeared in the first episode for his experiments. When the turtles get above ground, they find the Channel 6 building and decide to head over there to see if they can catch April. At the news office, April's boss says that she's been gone for 3 days. Her boss doesn't fire her though, and tells her to go check out the zoo robbery. Outside the building, she runs into the turtles in new disguises. She then fills the turtles in on the zoo incident. Back with Splinter, we see him finding the Technodrome, but he is soon captured. The turtles and April have made it to the zoo, and the turtles hop in the giant hole left by the robots earlier. They find Splinter's walking stick, and then they get led into a trap by Shredder. Shredder tests them several times using robots and other traps, but they always succeed. Eventually, they make their way into a large room and find Splinter suspended from the ceiling. Shredder appears, surrounded by his robot ninjas. Shredder tells the turtles they have passed all of his tests. He tells them that he's the one that spilled the mutagen on them, and that they can join him now. The turtles refuse and get ready to fight. The two goons from earlier, now transformed into the more recognizable Bebop and Rocksteady, appear and try to attack the turtles, but as would become normal for these two, fail miserably. The turtles quickly defeat the robot ninjas and cut Splinter down. After escaping the Technodrome, the turtles and Splinter rest at the city park, but Bebop and Rocksteady appear and once again try to fight. The turtles quickly disarm them and lead them back to the zoo, where they are trapped inside an empty zoo cage. April arrives with a camera trying to catch the action, but as usual, she's too late to get any videotape, except some of Bebop and Rocksteady trapped in the cage. The turtles and Splinter head off in April's news van, and one of the robots from earlier sets Bebop and Rocksteady free and tells them that Shredder wants to talk to them. Again, there's not really much anything wrong with this episode. We're introduced to 3 more important characters. You get to see the Technodrome rolling around underneath New York. And I didn't get to catch any animation errors in the episode either. This episode currently has an 8.4 out of 10 on IMDb, but again, it only has 201 votes. Overall, it was a decent episode, and I give it a 3 out of 5 paws.